In this video, we're going to talk about how to insert something into a list. All right, so it's going to use the command insert in the pseudocode. It's going to give you a list that it wants to put something in. It's going to tell you where in the list it should go, and this number should not be less than 1. And then it's going to give you a value or an item or an element that it wants to put into the list. So we have the insert command, the list, the index, and the value. And remember, for purposes of the pseudocode, 0 is not a valid index value. That's only when we're talking about Python. But for Snap and the pseudocode, this first element is going to be 1. All right, so let's take a look and see what the code would look like in Snap to perform this operation here. All right, so what I've done is I've created a variable that's going to be my index, and I've set it to 2. So I is 2. I created a value, and that value is going to be pink. So pink is the color that I'm adding into this list. And so if I added pink in at spot 2, the pink would go in where the green is. Now, in Snap, and with the intent of the pseudocode as well, what it's going to do is it's going to put that color in where green is, and then it's going to shift green, blue, and yellow down so they become later elements in the list. So pink isn't overwriting green. I'm putting the pink in where the green was, and I'm shifting everything else down by 1. And when you insert something, your list gets 1 bigger every time you insert something. So notice that the Snap code right here is very similar to the pseudocode. The pseudocode went list, index, and value. Snap goes value, index, and list. But it was just one of those blocks we dragged out right there, and you put the value in first. And of course, the value represents the thing. The index represents one of those pull-down menus that you can actually put a variable over, and then the list is represented by the list. So when I click this, it puts pink in where the green was, and then it shifts everything else down by 1. Python works pretty much almost identically. I'm going to have this list, and I am going to show you that this list is the list of those colors, and then the Python actually has a method that's associated with all of its lists. So in Python, to get the same functionality as we had in the pseudocode, we call the insert method, and we provide the parameter. We need to tell it first where we're going to put it, and then second what we're going to put. So here's the syntax for Python. So if I go ahead and run this code, it's changed the list, and if you want to see how the list has changed, you'll notice it put the word in pink where green was, and then shifted everything else down by 1. Now notice this was the number 1. It didn't shift red down. Index 1 in Python 01 is where the green is. So pink went in where the green was, and it shifted everything else down. So this is how the Python code relates to that pseudocode. I hope you found this video informative and useful.